G'day everybody, James here. This is a little video just to show you how not to use the select method as part of a range. Once you get better and better at VBA coding and a better understanding the coding, the less you use select, the better. What I see with a lot of people who write macros, they tend to overuse select and it can cause some performance problems with their macros. So I'm going to do a quick example of how you should and shouldn't do this, and hopefully you'll see how it works. So let's jump over to Excel now. Okay, so I've got Excel up, and the way most people learn how to do macros is they record themselves doing a macro, and that's a great way to find out the object model and all of the bits and pieces of Excel and what's happening. But when you record a macro, you're actually recording the steps that you would do when you click on different cells and input different formulas. And that's not necessarily the same way that you can get the macro to do it. All right, so let's do an example. So I'm just going to record a quick way, just a few selects. So I'm going to go to the developer tab. I'll take it off relative. I'll click, I don't need the visual. I'm going to click on record and start recording. I'm going to put this as example select. All right, so I'm going to record this macro as example select. And what you're going to see is I'm going to click on a cell. I'm going to put in something. I'm going to put in something else in another cell. Click on another cell and put in something else. And then maybe turn it to relative references now and say done, end, start. All right. And so I've clicked on all of those cells and I'm going to stop recording. All right, so that's a classic way. I want to see how it was done. I'm going to record myself doing it and looking at it. So now we'll go across to the Visual Basic Editor and see what got recorded. So I can click on this for Visual Basic Editor, or I can press Alt F11. I'm going to press Alt F11 and I'm going to go across, and you can see here the way it's done this macro is it said, now remember this was our, when we were on absolute referencing, it says go to range F8 and select it. So that's like you're physically going and clicking on the cell A8. All right, we're actually going and clicking on that cell. All right, and then we're saying for the cell we've clicked on, put this in, yeah, and so on. And then when we're doing relative referencing, you're seeing that it's just saying the active cell and offset, but for each one it's doing a select. Now every time you do a select, it's like you're clicking on that cell to select it. And what a lot of people don't realize is that I can shove something in a cell without selecting it at all. And I'm going to use the immediate window to show you that. So for example, I can just say range A8 dot value equals James. All right. Oh, what have I done? Oh, I put a star instead of an 8. Okay. All right, and I'm going to just say James. And so it's just put it in. All right. I can go to range A1 and put a James in there. All right. And if you look at my spreadsheet, you can see it didn't move. It's just gone and put it up and put it in there. Yeah? And so you get a performance improvement because the screen's not moving. Your window is not moving. It's also a better experience for the user because you're not jumping around. You imagine if I do the same thing, but instead of doing a dot, putting in a value first, what I'm going to do is, let's just first select it, and then I'm going to put in hello. So imagine I select it first. See how I've jumped up to that cell? Now I put it in. Now imagine I'm bouncing around and I'm going to now go to Z100. Boom, so now I'm down at Z100. Oh, hang on, we've got to go back to A8. A1 again. All right. If my screen's jumping around as I'm running the macro, it's a really bad experience for the user. The user can actually even interact with the screen and cause problems with it as well. Okay, so recording macros is great to see the methods and properties and objects that are used, but it's not necessarily the best way to write a macro. So let's look at a real world example of this. So what I've got here is I've got a really, really simple macro. And what it's going to do is it's going to say, for 20 rows and 20 columns, put in the word hello. So you can see these are two loops. It's going to say, let's go around down 20 rows, and then let's go across 20 columns, and let's put in the word hello. All right? The first way we're going to do it is we're going to select each cell before we put in the word hello in. All right, so we're going to select each cell, then we're going to put in the word hello. Now, if you watch the screen when I run this macro, you should see the screen move around and jump around. Now, it'll move around very quickly because this code is running very quickly, but you'll still see this flicker and jump and everything. So let's run this and see what happens. And you can see that flashing. You can even see here that the screen hasn't refreshed correctly. Right now, there's still something in there. If I go to that cell, even though it looks like these haven't refreshed correctly, if I jump back and then come back again, you'll see that they are filled out correctly. It was just the screen was changing so fast it wasn't refreshing. See that I'm stuck at column 20 and at row 20. I'm down the back here. Whereas what ideally I'd like to do is not have moved. If I'm selected here when I ran the macro, ideally I'd say selected here. Yeah. So let's now take out the select and see how it runs without the select. All right, so what I'm doing is I'm just poking data into that cell. I'm not clicking on the cell when I do it. And so now when you see I run it, it just goes bam, and it's all changed. All right, and it's all done. I haven't moved. I'm still there. It's a great user experience. And if I go over to column 20, you can see it's filled up all to column 20, but it hasn't had to jump to that page. Yeah. So by using the range object directly and not using select, you get a better user experience. Remember also, you can use it to fill sheets on different sheets that are not visible yet. You can do a whole lot of amazing things by not putting a select in. Okay, so hopefully that's a quick tip to help you with your VBA coding. If you're liking these videos, please like and subscribe and leave a comment below. See you next time. Thank you.